right, guys. Hi, we're live. Yay, we did it.
Yes. Yay.
And we have a fabulous show today. Thank you for joining us either on Facebook Live or on YouTube. So if you are joining in, drop a little note on the feed so we can say hi to you and want to interact and hear everything you guys have got going on. But today on JoyRide, this is like a convergence of things that I love.
Yes.
I'm super excited because we are talking about yoga. We're talking about pets, furry babies, puppies and kittens and dogs. We're talking about how to live life with passion and purpose. And another part that I absolutely love is how to have a completely novel solution to an ongoing problem that just is like, bing, the lights come on. So we're going to weave that all into the show today. And I want to introduce everybody that we have here. So first we're going to introduce Mark and Juliana from Boho Beautiful. Hi, guys.
Thank you for having us here
You guys
today.
drove in from Tampa?
Yep.
Yes, last night.
Last night, yeah.
Crashed for a couple hours, and you're here live in the studio with us.
Here we are.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So for those that are not familiar with Boho Beautiful, bohobeautiful.life is the website, and these guys are a beautiful young couple who are spreading the message of love to the world. And I'm going to read your intro because you're a travel yoga lifestyle channel creating positive content for your body, mind, and the earth with yoga, wanderlust, fitness, vegan food, travel, conscious living, and meditation. Check.
Deep breath.
There it is.
Yes. Drop the mic.
We're up.
Wow. But we want to talk about how you guys got started. And we have Jodie Eisenhardt, who's been a friend of mine for 20 plus years.
Long time.
As just a soul sister who
Yes.
I'm in love with.
Yes, same.
And Jodie has been, you've worn many hats, but you have always worn the animal advocate, animal savior friendly hat.
Yeah, it sort of came to me. It became my path. Wasn't
And-
planned that way, but it became my path.
And who do you have with you here today?
This is Miss Maudie. She's a death row rescue from Bark, from the city shelter.
She's a mama. She just had 4 babies.
She's got 4 babies at home with me too, and we'll talk more about her in a bit.
And you're here today to represent Rescued Pet Movement.
Rescued Pets Movement is an organization in Houston that's collaborating with Boho Beautiful for a great event tonight that we'll be talking about. And Miss Maudie is you can hardly see her because she's black girl. She's blending in, but she's real
so
sweet.
cute. You can see
she's
she's got her boobies.
Yeah,
She's breastfeeding
she's
her
nursing
babies.
her 4 puppies. But yeah, she's my current foster for Rescued Pets Movement. We had her about 10 days, and she's heading to Colorado on Thursday.
Okay, we're going to get all into that first. So, all right, so I want to jump into your story because your videos on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, you put them all over. They're beautiful, and you're all these amazing exotic locations, and you guys have just decided to jump off the grid.
To some degree,
We want the story. We
Yeah.
want the
Oh my
story.
goodness.
Yeah, I mean, I want to know. First, I want to know, where did you guys start out? I mean, what did you do prior to this, and how did y'all meet, and how did all of this come in?
Oh wow.
Well, we actually, when we met, we were in complete different career paths.
And states of mind and being,
Yeah.
I think, when it comes down to it. right?
Yeah, Mark worked in the music business, and I worked in the TV film business. And I don't know, when we met each other, we just knew after a month that there's something more.
And
out
something
there.
wrong with everything we were doing.
Yeah.
In a sense. I don't know. I guess it really started with like each of us giving one another the courage to actually accept the feelings we were going through about existence and life and what we were putting. I think what it comes down to is where we were putting our energy.
And how we were contributing to the world as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
So you both had typical kind of 9-to-5 jobs, or were you freelance artists? Or
It
how
was,
I worked in a corporate music environment,
Okay.
and I'd started in on the opposite end of that, and it had just slowly sucked me into the corporate side. So I
Right.
started playing on stage and in music and that kind of thing, and throughout all kinds of, I wouldn't say wrong decisions, but decisions that society tells you is the right one. I ended up being a high-level music executive, sitting at a desk.
Yeah.
So it's like from one opposite to the other.
Which in a lot of people's eyes would be considered success, right?
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
well,
here you are getting a salary, making all these decisions.
Yeah, I was making
and-
obscene money.
Yeah.
And I did everything I could to try and swallow it. Bought the fancy car,
Yeah.
lived the life, was at like clubs until 4 in the morning every night, like trying to sign, because my job was to sign artists.
Yeah.
So trying to look for the next big thing, and like, then you become the identity that you have. All of a sudden, you become your job. So you're no longer Mark. You're Mark from Universal.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you start realizing that that's who I am. So you start falling in love with the idea
ego.
of the
Yeah.
ego and the identity and this whole like mask that you put on. This whole I don't know, like. We all sort of, we become what we do in a sense to give us that comfort in life. But so, like underneath all of it, like your body screams at you, your mind, your energy, everything screams at you like that this is what someone said you were, that you agreed to, rather than this is who you
It's almost like
truly
we've
are.
conditioned to that be success. Like that's the goal for most of conditioning society to
Yeah.
get where you were.
Oh,
so
totally.
it's so cool that you recognize
Well,
I'm here and it's sucking my the life out of me.
But how though? I mean, it took a big thing for me to say, is this it? I mean, now I just wait for my grandkids and get an RV. I mean, not an RV like y'all, but this is it. I mean, just sort of like the death march, right? So what happened? I mean, how did
I got it really quickly. And I think that I got to this point at a very young point. I was the youngest executive by far, by decades, at the company I worked at. Because I was, like we were saying earlier, we're very OCD in everything we do, and we're very creatively driven, and we have these very strong emotional and creative impulses that we listen to. And that had found Juliana success in everything she did in her life, whether it's the right path or the wrong, and it was the same for myself. And all of a sudden, you're sitting at a table with, the 5 other executives at the top tier of the company, and they're all, in their 50s, and you're looking around, you're like, so this is it. That's where
That's
I
me.
will be.
Yeah.
Like, there is no doubt about it. Shall I continue to walk this path? So thank God it was such a blunt realization. But I buried it. And thank God when we met, because we gave each other the courage.
That was the catalyst.
Yeah, that was really, I
Yeah.
think, what began. I mean, Juliana, she was in a group at the time.
It's funny.
Go
I used
ahead.
to, it was like a girl group, I guess you would call it, because I started as a gymnast, and I was an athlete, professional athlete for all of my life, pretty much until I was 17, from the age of 7. And I went through a bad back injury, which got me into yoga and Pilates, interestingly enough, because it healed my body. But I wanted to try out other things. So I went into dance and kind of met other girls. And through dance, we decided to start like a group.
Well, first you
so-
became extremely successful at dance. And I think that's I think like when you drive towards something with all of your energy, and if that's your one thing, it takes you places.
Yeah.
No matter what you're doing in life.
Yeah,
Are you
as long
focused?
as-
It carries
yeah,
you.
Exactly.
Focus with passion.
We all have energy, and we choose where to put it in your 12 or 16 hours you're awake in a day. And it's like a bank. If you put 16 hours of that energy, minus eating and, doing things to upkeep your life, if you invest that into one thing, eventually the bank will pay out. So, but we all choose. You can choose to watch Netflix, or you can choose to follow your dream.
And work really hard.
You can
yeah.
choose to go to the bar with your buddies, or you can choose to, focus on one thing that you believe will take you somewhere you want to go in life.
Sure.
And so Juliana was like dancing with J-Lo, and like doing like crazy high level stuff. And I love when she says, and I'm like that they realized they wanted something more for them.
Well, I think it was me and 2 of my friends, and that's kind of where the spark started to happen. We didn't want to just be backup dancers for other people. We don't want to make other people's dreams become a reality and just be like the background. And so at that moment, we're like, well, let's do something else. And we started for fun to sing and record music and, sort of booking these shows in Vancouver. And then opportunities just happened where Mark ended up coming to Vancouver, and we were, doing a show to see us. And that's kind of how we met. And from that point on, I ended up moving to Toronto like a month after that, and the group fell apart because there's, again, just too much ego, and I don't know, there's just a lot of things.
It's a music business.
Music
so
business is a
it's-
little bit crazy.
It's driven by ego.
Yeah, and
it
so
fulfilled its purpose?
exactly,
you know?
but that's how we see it. It was like, even though that never really went anywhere, it did because it gave us the opportunity to meet and start something else. And so after everything kind of went sour with the group, Mark and I found ourselves living in Toronto, and I was completely lost with what I wanted to do because I had this career. I kind of was over it. I didn't want to, like I said, continue to fulfill other people's dreams.
And I was completely lost having a career and
Yeah.
knowing it's completely wrong in everything it was. And
Yeah, and so
we
we
had
just
to look at each other
We
and
just went on this journey, and I think for myself personally, that's where I really went into the spiritual side of yoga, and I started taking myself into all the trainings and workshops. I went to Costa Rica and lived in a jungle for a bit and studied, the spirituality aspect of meditation and yoga. And I think through that whole process, Mark was behind me there as well, and we just started to grow and allow the awakening to start to happen. And it totally changed us, because when I talk about the past,
oh my God,
and I think about who we were,
it's embarrassing.
like
in
5
a sense
years
of being
ago.
but it's not, because it's a part of who we were.
Yeah.
But it's if I was to sit next to us from 6 years ago, it would be like, you guys
Totally
don't have a
different people.
clue.
Yeah, but there's this, to have it and to say, I love this, I appreciate this, but I want more. And
Yeah.
to be able to have the strength to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it lends to a completely different vibe. I think to walk away versus I try these different things, it kind of doesn't work out. And I mean, I'm not really sure if it at the end of the day, it's whatever gets you there. Can't talk. Anyway, so I think it's beautiful.
But it's interesting too, because I think we don't ever look back a lot. So in these moments, it's really like
It's weird for us to go back.
It's unusual for us to think about the past, because we're constantly just always driving forward in our van, but in everything we do, we're constantly just going what's next? What's next? What's the next step for us?
Yeah.
Internally as well, because I think this is the second time on this trip that we've had to look back. One was just a random girl asked us the very simple question at an event: what was the decision? What was it that got you to make the choice? And that's when we had to realize there was no choice. It was a series, a very, very intense series of listening to our intuition, recognizing things that didn't feel right, and then experimenting with all kinds of everything that makes your life what it is, to see if that makes things feel like they're better and more in place. So it was and that's what we call it, and that's when we started realizing, it might sound cheesy, but it's an awakening, because it's a process, and we're only in it right now. There's no end. It's it's a constant
journey.
every day we're talking about well, what else do we have to look at? Because we still don't feel whole. And maybe finding that wholeness and getting to that point is the end result, but it's a beautiful path all the way through.
And it's so cool to have a partner who's in the same place with you, because somebody might want to put down roots and really stay put, but for you both to be on this journey together and be open to just seeing where you go. It's completely unwritten.
I think that's a big blessing I find in our life,
Yeah.
is the fact that we have each other, because we may not have a home, we may not have anything else
Yeah,
that's
so you guys packed
stable.
up where you live, you
Yeah.
sold everything,
Yeah.
you literally outfitted your van, and you said, we're going to go do a road trip. You went all through Southeast Asia. I mean,
Yeah.
you've traveled all over, and you do these gorgeous videos from all these locations.
Thank you.
Pilates, meditation, yoga, they're beautiful. So you've skilled. You said you're working really hard just in the editing.
It's always
from your
Well,
laptop.
That's how we started. Fast forward after, we went through all of these changes in our lives, we decided that, we've always wanted to do something like this, to create content for people so that, that's free and accessible for everybody, and well, what can we do? And so we went and bought a camera. You know what I mean? We put all
It
our
took us
money into it.
forever to get to that point even.
Yeah.
Just to realize that that was one of those experiments where it's first we listened to our hearts about certain things and changed stuff in our life, and then we thought about where our energy goes, and then we thought about what we put our time into, then we thought about how we're contributing to the world. And the whole time underneath all this we were but we want to travel. We want to see the world. We know the world is a massive place and we can learn so much from it. And we also want to know that whatever we're doing is contributing to something. Small, huge, big, massive, whatever it is, at least there's a positive ripple.
Yeah.
And to us, I think that that was we knew well, if we made content, if we created content and used the internet for good, which a lot of people don't,
Yeah.
and put it out there and you never know. Like, whether it gets 1 million views or 2, those 2 might be more valuable than the million.
Yeah.
Right.
So like it does,
Not about the numbers.
as long as you're doing it, that's all that matters.
As long
is-
as the intention is there.
and
Is
that's
right.
and
The
so we
right
had this
intention.
this
Yeah.
whole idea, like she's saying, but like one of the last and hardest steps to that first chapter was actually listening to ourselves and going out and buying that camera
And being
actually
fearless.
doing something.
Well, and you're the one in
That's what I was
front all the
Yeah.
time doing
Yeah.
all
Right.
these exercises and meditations and
Yeah.
putting it all together.
And just putting yourself out there, because like Mark said, the internet is a big place. You know what I mean? It's scary sometimes. Just be like, okay, I'm just gonna be on,
Sometimes.
I'm gonna be on camera and have 1 million people see a video, and they're gonna make their own opinions about what they see, and you have to just kind of shed that fear of what other people think of you as well. Because so many people will be like, oh, what if people don't like me, or what if this or that or that. All these little thoughts start to go in your head. If you just clear your mind and truly focus on the fact, well, you know what, I feel passionate about this, and I have I feel like I have a message to say to the world, and I want to help other people. I want to contribute my energy in some way to affect others in a positive way. And so if that's the right intention, the other stuff doesn't matter. You know what I mean? People will make their own decisions. They will make their own choices about what they see and how it affects them. But as long as, you're putting the love and the positive vibes into what you create and put out there, that's what matters. And so that's kind of the bottom intention behind everything that we do.
Okay, JoyTribers, you heard it. If you have a passion, if you have a dream, you just got to do it. Here's this beautiful
gotta do it. That's
example
right.
of just
Thank
doing
you.
it. And we're the
Yeah.
same with our show. We had to put ourselves out there and kind of create this, and it's scary, and we're not professionals, but just
Yeah.
kind of keep going.
With everything, right? It's about letting go of that fear.
Yes.
Everything.
Everything.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And not a day goes by that isn't filled with fear.
Really? Even now, though?
Even now. Oh my.
Oh, yeah.
Even now.
I mean, it reaches a point where, don't you think, you see this fear and then you kind of deal with that, and then there's the next fear, and it just sort of spirals. But at each spot, you're getting a little more. Like you're growing and you're elevating.
Getting used to challenging it, but I mean, it's built into us from our design. Like fear, whether it's to protect and make sure that
Right.
we're secure in life, or
Yeah.
to make sure that we're healthy, or make sure we have and society. I mean, we're still in society. Everything we do, everywhere we go, it's shoved into our face. But we were at it was funny. We went to a hockey game. We're like, we need a night off. We went to a hockey game.
In like 5 years.
And,
First one
and
in
so
5
like that,
years.
and that's the thing, is like we may live off the grid and all this, but we still have things we love to do. So we went in Tampa Bay and we're like, let's go buy some tickets. They're way cheaper than they are in Canada. And we were there and we were watching, like, for 3 hours, people are like told what to drink, told to what credit cards to go get, told
Yeah.
Exactly
what
right.
they should be eating, what kinds of food they
And
should
they
do,
just push this alcohol
and
on
what kind
them,
and
and
all of
yeah.
it. Like when and we love the game, but we're watching and we're like, oh yeah, this is society.
Just bombarded.
You're
Yeah,
bombarded
don't
for
even
3
know.
hours, and that's and that only contributes more fear in people's lives. Like, if I don't do this, and they have to look at these feelings that we look at all the time. Everyone gets them, and be like, well, how do I deal with it? Well, we chose this crazy path. Took society standard, this
Yeah.
crazy path of being like, we're gonna go online and make a bunch of stuff and hopefully get to a point one day where we can just run into the sunset and continue doing it. But we used to deal with it just like everyone else. We ate the food that we thought we were supposed to, that would make us happy. We went to the to the movies and watched the Marvel movies that we thought would give us 2 minutes of or 2 hours of breath in our life, or and on and on and on, down this whole commercialist, that is what's supposed to make you happy.
Right.
But it's not. It's only what distracts you.
Yeah.
And it's only what
that's
makes
all it is. It's distractions.
And so
Yeah.
it's crazy to think about that. So the fear, no matter who you are, you're going to deal with it. But it gets easier every time you challenge it, but it's always there. It has to be. It's in our DNA.
But it's also something that I find that drives you. You know what I mean? It's that fear. For us sometimes it's the instability. We don't have a home, or are we going to get enough money this month to pay for this and this and that? And I think when you have a little bit of that fear, it forces you to work harder. It
Yeah.
forces you to put more time into your craft, into, everything that we do creatively. If you get too comfortable, you're like, whatever, I'll just kind of ride my way through the wave.
Jump before you're ready.
Yeah.
and it's the best motivation.
Well, and another
I may
thing,
steal that.
yeah, before you're ready.
Jump before you're ready.
Just do it. That would be a good
Well,
slogan.
Because you're never going to be ready.
You're never going to be ready.
It's
That's
like people
exactly
that
right.
say, I'm going to have a child when this falls into place and this falls into place. It's like, well, that's never going to happen.
Who's ever
You're-
been like now?
Now I'm ready to have a baby. You know what I mean?
everyone always,
Like, ever just
jump before you're ready.
But
Yeah.
that's what happens. I mean,
Yeah.
that is exactly what drove me to where I am. That exact thought is that it's like, okay, I've checked the boxes. Now what?
Yeah.
Now what? And that was the whole, now what do I have? I mean, there's no passion. And by the way, I think that they want you to feel fear so that you buy things.
Buy
Because
things.
if you're not enough, then you're buying a shit ton of stuff to make yourself feel better.
Yeah.
And that's funny because at the game we're like, this is all just so like it's not
Manufactured.
like it's all manufactured for profit's sake.
Yep.
Where at the end of the day we're looking at like our energy and where we put it, and we're trying to keep our intention for goodness. We have to make money, but we also want it to benefit people.
But you deserve to make money. I mean,
Who knows? Who knows who deserves anything?
No,
in this-
I don't mean it like that. I mean, it doesn't say that. I mean, why can't you do both? Why can't you have
Totally.
enough to do what you want to do with? And who knows what that
Yeah.
amount is? I just think enough. And I don't think that it's. At least I feel for me that I don't know that I can make money if I want to make money. Now we don't on the show just because we can't figure out how to do it in a way that we feel good about it. So we just don't. We just put the stuff out.
Right.
Yeah.
And so no, anyway. But
Well, another part, I love your idea of rescue pet movement.
Ah.
Okay, I mean of
positive
the
movement tour.
positive movement tour. So I want to switch gears a little bit and go on to that because you guys I saw the video and you're like, we have this crazy idea. We want to travel.
That was cool.
We want to come and meet you guys. We want to
Yeah.
throw it out there and see where can we come. And all of it would be to help animal sanctuaries, rescue, whatever, to benefit these beautiful furry babies that we
Yeah.
love. And so you threw it out there, and then you got all these bites. People said, "Okay, come here, come here, come
It
here."
was incredible. I mean, we had no idea what to expect because this was the first time that we're taking like Boho Beautiful into the real world,
Yeah.
you would call it, because we've just been living online and
Yeah.
we have all these amazing people that reach out to us, but they're just profile photos or they're an email, and we've never actually met people, which sounds so weird to say, but we never met people that watch our videos and
yeah.
like have been affected by our content. And so when we had this idea, we were actually in Thailand at that point, and we were like, okay, well, we're coming back because our dog was with my mom at that point, so we had to go back to North America for him. And we're like, well, what can we do that can continue to bring more positivity into the world, especially when the world is in such need of positive energy right now. And so we got this idea of a tour, and like you said earlier, that we just put out a video to see who can help us and do something that's very community based, very grassroots. We wanted to make it a community event created by the community, so it's not like big lights and big stages and again like pumping you with merchandise and this and this and this. It's more just about let's all gather together and do yoga, meet one another, but also bring awareness and some financial support to all these incredible organizations that are putting all their time and energy from their hearts. No one's asked these people to do what they do for the animals, and we just thought, well, what can we do to put them up a little higher on the pedestal and to help them a little bit.
So how many stops have you been on already, and how many do you have to go?
We were actually almost on the last leg of our tour now. We only have 6 stops.
Seven
left.
Yeah?
So that means
only
like,
7.
Only 7 left, but in total it's 40 different stops.
40 different
Yeah,
stops. I love
across
that.
America.
And
Yeah.
they've represented all different kinds of
Oh, it's
charities
Oh, it's
and
been-
sanctuaries
It's been
and
everything.
Incredible.
It's been
Yeah.
been so inspiring, because I think what's amazing about what people like you do is what Juliana was saying, that you meet all of these people in people's community who don't get, like, they're heroes, but they don't get the credit on a larger level that, let's say, I don't know, like celebrities or mayors or whatever do. Like, these are the people that are cleaning up the mess that we've all created.
Oh,
Is she coughing? No, Mama, say it's your turn. You're getting a little stage fright. It's your turn.
And they've
She's
decided to do it because of their heart.
Yeah.
Because there's something that said, I want to put my energy into this. And so we've seen everything from like dog and cat, like shelters and rescues, to farm sanctuaries, to a turtle save, to ocean saves, to all across the board, all community-based organizations in people's backyards that a lot of the people that come to these events don't even know exist.
Yeah.
yeah.
And so it's just like, but there's a huge, we talk about tonight, like cats and dogs, or just dogs even, like these are animals that we have domesticated, that we have decided we want to take care of as a culture, as like a society, as like over thousands of years, we're like, this is man's best friend. That's what we call it. But now there's this thing going on where we're euthanizing like hundreds of thousands every year. Millions in our culture, and no one even knows it because we don't see them, because we take them off the street, we hide them in shelters, give them to people like this to take care of, or put them to death. And then we were walking our dog today, and this woman walks up to us and goes, "Oh, a Roddy, I had a Roddy, this is amazing. Oh, he looks so beautiful. What breeder did you get him from?"
Right.
And we're just like,
we rescued
him because there's millions that get put to death every year because people, and it's not her fault. We're not like, she's not evil, anything like that. It's
People
just
don't know.
People
just
don't know.
It's the education.
Yeah. It just drives us crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, and these are like, we're supposed to be the stewards. We're supposed to be the ones that take care of the planet. Like everyone talks about evolution, like it's such a great thing, but we've actually evolved to a point where we're destroying things and animals first and species first.
And they don't have a voice.
And they don't have a
That's what
voice.
really why we feel so passionate about the animals. And from traveling, even for example in Southeast Asia, they don't have like shelters like this. They'll have organizations that rescue, but not like we have in North America. So you see hundreds of dogs and cats on the streets in horrible conditions, eating garbage, and that's actually what inspired us with the whole doing it for the animals, because we were just so heartbroken, and we can't help them all. We can't take them all home. And, no one stands up for them. Nobody speaks for them. They don't have a voice. And
We
so,
do in the studio today.
Oh, boy.
well, today,
We
exactly.
do
Where,
today.
people rescue
There's
pets
so
movement.
many. I mean, I think that's the thing, and what I was so grateful, other than just the fact that you guys wanted to do this, and we were so excited that we got picked for you guys to come to Houston, is to help create awareness, because that's the thing that gets me. I've been involved in rescue for over a decade, and people just have no idea. Even in Houston, my friends do, because I'm always beating my chest and talking about it. But so many people have no idea that we have an estimated 800,000 to 1.2 million strain abandoned on the streets here
In Houston, and
in
just
Houston, Texas.
Over
yeah,
a million
yeah,
pets in
that's the
Houston
city's
right now.
own estimate.
Oh my gosh.
So we have a huge problem. We're one of the most challenging in the country in terms of strain abandoned animals. And so what I love about Rescued Pets Movement, I'm a volunteer and a fundraiser with them. Their board said, okay, this is a supply and demand problem, because there are literally states up north that have a need for rescued animals. They want to adopt, and they don't have, because they don't have so many strain abandoned on the streets. They don't have year-round breeding that we have in the
of the
South.
weather.
They'll have spay-neuter laws, which we don't have. They have strict breeder laws, which we don't have. So we have kind of the perfect storm here. And so we've all these amazing adoptable animals like Maudie here, who end up on death row just for lack of space. It's a space issue. It's not, Bark, our city shelter, they try so hard. But they have record intake nearly every day. Even right now in November, which is normally not as bad as summer, we have record intake right now at
Plus
Bark.
you throw Harvey on top of it. Hurricane
Oh, yeah.
Harvey.
Yeah.
Yeah, Harvey,
place
and we knew, we were like,
thousands
oh my gosh, we had such a huge problem, before Harvey. And so this organization has saved 25,000. We're about to have our 25,000 lives saved
It's amazing.
on December 2nd, and they just had their 4th birthday last month.
4
And
years.
So,
Isn't that incredible?
It's
You have to
really
tell the
dramatic.
process, 'cause you guys go get these
yeah, so
animals.
it's insane. So every week,
It's brilliant.
it is brilliant. And like I said, the board members who are my friends, I admire and respect these people so much. And I'm so happy to work on their behalf, to recruit fosters and to raise money because I want to support this effort. But their vision was to pull death row animals, from the city shelter primarily. We want to expand to the county and others, but we've worked primarily with the city shelter. They are fostered for typically about 2 weeks. So we've had Maudie at my house for about 10 days and her 4 puppies too. And so for about 2 weeks, you get to save a life. And then you get their transport date when you get them. So you get their info, you get everything they need. You get the food, the crates, the medical care, they get their vaccinations, their whatever they need. And then typically in 2 to 3 weeks, they get on, our transport happens every Thursday morning. I wish you guys could be here on Thursday, but you'll be in some other city. But every Thursday morning, 5 or 6 transport vans leave our facility in Garden Oaks, the Jack C. Alexander building. Les Alexander is a fan of what we do, and he helped us with this facility.
You.
Thank you, Les, and everyone who supported it. But it's a huge effort. So 150 to 200 animals every week transport out of Houston. There they go on the vans to our partner groups in primarily Colorado. It's about a 36-hour trip. They have this incredible, organized, amazingly efficient way of managing all of this. And again, it's something that people said could not be done. You can't do that.
Right.
That's impossible. You can't possibly. And that's what I love, the vision
Every
of the
week.
board every week. And
incredible.
after
That's
Harvey,
incredible.
after Harvey, because we'd pulled a lot of animals in advance of the storm because we knew the shelters were going to be inundated after. And so we had almost 300 that went 2 weeks after Harvey. It was our biggest transport ever. That was 10 vans. We do kitties too.
10 vans.
We had 10 vans. It was amazing. There's cool video of it. I think you guys have shared it. Y'all have shared it.
So Maddie and her little 4 puppies are going to be going.
Yeah, they're going on
And
Thursday.
they already have a home.
They typically have homes waiting, or they're typically adopted within 2 weeks.
Oh.
And as someone who worked in traditional rescue in Houston, Texas for over a decade, we would foster until a dog was adopted. And, it could take months, it could take years because our market is so saturated here. And in Colorado, where we send them, there's like high interest. They'll have crowds at adoption events. And, we have vetted these partners. We have, I've met with a lot of them this summer when I was in Colorado, and their passion to make this happen is incredible. So while we still want to approach the bigger issue in Houston with awareness and with more availability for spay neuter and just animal welfare in general, in the meantime, our position is let's save these adoptable dogs and get them the heck out of here where they're wanted and needed and will be loved. And so it's really super satisfying. We foster kind of all the time. We just, we have our own crew, we have our own dogs, and then we have our little separate foster crew, and it works. You get into a groove, and the family, the Rescued Pets Movement family, such an incredible support system. And so we have people that'll co-foster. So you'll have them for 4 or 5 days, and then the other person will have them for 4 or 5 days to help when people are traveling. Huge need right now with Thanksgiving coming up. We really need more fosters.
We need more fosters.
We
If
need
you
more
are
fostered.
a Houston JoyRider and you are interested in helping Rescued Pets Movement, go to rescuedpetsmovement.org and sign up to be a foster.
Click on Be
make
a Foster.
donation.
Yeah, we need 2 things. We need money and we need fosters.
Yeah.
Money and time.
It costs about $200-ish to vet and transport each animal. And, we have, like I said, it's a big operation, but it works.
But it's brilliant.
Well, we've
I
saved
just love the idea.
25,000 in 4 years. It's
Instead
so
of just managing
dramatic.
it here,
Yeah.
the overwhelming, just supply and demand.
Yeah.
You just so.
And
Somebody
hats off.
thought outside the box.
It
I
so
love that
was,
idea.
and
Yep.
I, the whole time you guys were talking, I was like, this ties into everything that you said. Ties into this mission. It ties into every mission that we need to do as human beings and step up to what we're being called to do right now. And so I just love it. It's such a win-win, and
amazing.
can't believe we get to do yoga tonight and have it benefit this
Let's talk
effort.
about what's
and-
happening tonight.
Yeah, so tonight in front of City Hall, this evening, in fact. So we're going to start
It's gonna be a beautiful
gathering
night.
at 5 o'clock, and then at 6 o'clock, Juliana's going to lead us in an amazing yoga class, and it's a donation-based class. So you can come and give us, $10. You could come and give us 1,000 if you wanted. That would be fine. And we're going to do yoga and just, celebrate and build a community and build awareness. And we would love to have people come out and do yoga with us. 6 o'clock in front of City Hall.
So it should be almost dark with the Houston skyline.
We just
behind
set our
it.
clocks
Beautiful.
up, so yeah, it'll
Yeah.
be a little bit dark.
It's going to be sweet.
So on Tuesdays is when you guys do all the Thursdays is
Thursdays.
when you do all the where's that happen? At the
Thursdays are
building.
transport on 34th Street in Garden Oaks. And we also, another way you can help is we need volunteers at the facility. We have a small kennel operation there that's kind of an emergency stopping point when we are really desperate to get a dog from death row. And we have a group that wants them up north, and we don't have a 2-week foster yet, but we don't want them to get put down, so we'll hold them there for a minute. We need help there. They need volunteers for the transports on Thursday morning. It takes a lot of people to make this happen, but it's if you ever come in and be a part of transport or come watch it, it will just change your life forever, because you really realize how many adoptable beautiful, every age, every size. I mean, we've saved them all, and that's the other thing I love about this group. It's not just puppies. I tend to foster a lot of mamas and puppies, which is great, and they're highly entertaining little boogers. But you know, there are older, beat up, three-legged dogs, and you know everything. And like you all were saying, people don't realize the dogs that are in shelters waiting to be adopted. You know, your beautiful Roddy, my beautiful Roddy, came from the City of Houston shelter. She was a death row dog as well, and about 25% of the dogs that end up in shelters are purebred dogs. People have no idea.
No.
Yeah.
So you can get whatever you want. I tell people all the time. They're like, "Well, I kind of want." I'm like, "What kind of dog do you want? I'll find it for you."
Find you a rescue.
Well,
Yeah.
there are breed specific rescue groups for literally every breed, and then you know there are the mutts, which are my personal favorite. Mutts and pit bulls are my favorite because they're the ones that have the hardest, the hardest time. So, but I just so love you guys for caring and for wanting to make a difference and for helping us create awareness. And obviously, you guys, JoyRide, my sisters, you know, and we're just happy to make it happen.
Okay, so it's all the information. Well, JoyRide, we've been sharing the links. So if you have any questions, just type them in here on Facebook, or just all the links on Facebook with all the details about where to go and how to sign up and how to donate, because we fully support you guys. It's beautiful.
We'll have people there tonight too, talking about the program. If people want to come and ask questions about what it's really about to foster or how they can support, we'll have people there tonight from RPM.
Awesome.
I just love the way you guys have had such a dramatically different approach to such a fundamental, long-standing problem. I love that.
Me too, because I was so overwhelmed and sad about it every day, having worked in this. You know, I got involved in this work totally just accidentally. I wasn't even a dog person until my 30s. People find that so funny. My first rescue, you know, that found me and changed my life. And yes, for this group to come in like they did and give us hope. You know, we've all just been drowning in the rescue community in Houston for so many years, and we still are. But this work has given us hope, and it has given us a renewed sense of purpose, and it's given us the energy that we need to push forward. And you know, every single person that gets involved in RPM and Rescued Pets Movement, that's another voice that helps create awareness. And so it's just the momentum. Talking about energy, it has a huge impact.
It does. So we're going to say hi to a couple friends who are joining us on Facebook. Paul and Belinda, Kathy. She's saying mutts and pit bulls. She loves them too.
Yes.
Carrie is saying Santa's thinking about a rescue dog.
Yes.
Oh, yes, Carrie.
So you know, is that a popular thing for folks over the
Well,
holidays?
it
And it's kind of
is.
a blessing and a
It
little bit
is.
of a
We're
problem,
sort
too.
of, well, we
Tell me
let's
about
just
that.
say we end up with a lot of Christmas puppies come into the shelter by about February, because people buy puppies.
Yeah.
Oftentimes they'll get puppies. They're thinking of it as a gift and a cute thing, not a lifetime responsibility and a lifetime commitment. And I think that's something else we need to be talking about as a culture, because everything's become so disposable. And so when you take on an animal, it's a commitment for
huge.
that animal's life. And what probably makes me the most sad about all of this is the amount of owner turn-ins, you know, at the city shelter and the county shelter, when people come in with these dogs that are completely dependent on them, that are literally, you know, would chase them out the door, and they leave them there because it's inconvenient. The week before Thanksgiving, we'll have a lot of people surrender their pets because they're going out of town and they don't have anywhere to put them, so they'll
Oh my God.
go to the shelter, you know.
I
crazy.
remember the first time we heard that from the girl, a woman near Toronto who helped us rehabilitate, and she like would just curse. I think she was saying in April or so, like she was like, "This is the worst time of year for me."
Yeah.
Because emotionally, it affects her so much
Yeah.
when all the Christmas dogs come in.
It
and
breaks
we're like,
your heart.
Christmas dogs.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Yeah," and she
Yeah.
said the disposable thing, and that's so.
You know, if you want to adopt, if you want to save a life, if you want to teach your kids about compassion and you want to take on that responsibility, by all means do it. They're animals that really need you, but only do it if you're willing to make that lifetime commitment, because it's not all fun and games. You know, there's potty training and stuff.
But that's just
They're
the
babies.
first phase. That's just
Yeah.
that puppy phase. You
Yeah.
take a few classes at Petco
Oh,
or whatever,
absolutely.
in obedience.
But
and
that's
some
part of the
basic potty
commitment,
training.
right? Because
Right.
every dog needs training. Every dog needs positive reinforcement. You know, like you all were saying, they're completely dependent on us. They're domesticated animals. So, you know, we're there to guide them. And, I mean, I find it hugely gratifying, but I can't tell you how many people will abdicate that responsibility, you know, on a dime. And then I think bigger ramifications. How does that impact, the youngsters that witness that? How does that impact the culture? And so I think we really want to be a culture of personal responsibility and of compassion. And so I'm really excited. Kids get this. They get it. They're like, this is not acceptable. It's not right. Their generation, I think, your kids, they're not going to tolerate these shenanigans with the animals. And so they're sort of, kids will really demand this change. And when we do work in the schools, and we get out in the schools with some of the groups that go in and do humane education, I mean, there's so many amazing groups in Houston trying to do so many things. RPM's just one of them. The kids see it very clearly that it's just not okay. And so I think we have to continue to build awareness, and events like this help us do that, and energizes me, makes me really happy.
Carrie, you're so funny. She's saying maybe St. Valentine will bring a puppy.
Love it. Yes.
You get one of those Christmas puppies in February.
There's a lot of them available in February, sadly.
Oh my goodness.
I know, it's
I can't
crazy.
imagine. I just can't.
I know,
can't
it's
imagine.
so difficult for me to fathom the fact
Yeah.
that you could,
Giving up
to
your
us,
kids.
I feel like our dog is like our child. It's like just giving your baby away, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
it's bizarre to me
really-
too. And
yeah.
I used to manage the intake line for a rescue that I, volunteered with for, for 8 or 9 years. And so I would be the person responding to people that were like, I don't want my dog anymore. Can you come get it? And, first of all, we don't have any place to put them. Our shelters are completely overflowing. And then we have so many rescue groups trying to help, but they're all foster based, and they need people. So it's just kind of an ongoing dilemma we have in Houston, Texas. And I love the city. I'm a native Houstonian. I love that we have always been a city that, we didn't let any obstacle get in our way. I mean, look at the ship channel. Look at the things we accomplished to become the city that we are. We can fix this problem. We can do this. And so we just have to really, as a community, demand leadership on this issue. And that won't happen until we create the awareness. And so
It's gotta become
thanks
a
for
priority.
helping
I
us
have
do
to
that.
know.
Of course.
I mean, I didn't know what the
Yeah, the stats. I
statistics
know.
were.
I know.
was
Well, my poor
crazy.
boyfriend, bless his heart, Tim Collins.
We love Tim.
3.5 years ago when we got together, he had no idea that any of this was happening, and now he's more hardcore than I am.
the pictures he's
he's
covered in
super
puppies.
involved, and he
He'll
says,
go rescue dogs in the middle of the night.
"Oh my God," he's like, "Baby, people just need to know. Like, if people knew this was
knew,
going on,
they wouldn't let it
and
happen.
So I'm like, help me tell people.
Yeah, it is.
Just
Well,
spreading that
Kathy
awareness.
is saying being a part of rescue will give you the highest highs and the lowest lows.
Yeah.
Break your heart, but every dog saved is a triumph.
It is. It is. I always say it's the greatest blessing and the biggest challenge in my life. I can't imagine who I would be, without it. And I have met the most amazing people. I mean, the people that I don't know, love and respect the most are, my co-rescue warriors. You know who you are. Because there's a bond. There's a bond that happens. And I've always said, I don't want to become the crazy dog lady and, end up with 20 dogs at my house. And the cool thing about RPM is that it's kept me from doing that
From
because
having- yeah. They all
have
because
homes.
you take them, and I mean, you can't keep them even if you wanted to. They're going. They've got a place to go, and so you can just be temporarily
How
crazy
many do you
for
have
a
at
couple
home
weeks.
now?
Well, we have the 4 puppies,
Yeah.
and then the mama,
But
and
how
then
many of your dogs?
2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
but it's fine.
Yeah.
It's
She's
all
like,
good.
it's fine. It works.
It does. It's. I mean, you make it work, and I never had more than 2. That's because mine are like special needs.
She does. You always take the ones that are blind or have
Well, I
heart
take the
issues
ones,
or
the
just-
ones that I've kept are the ones that are, have issues or whatever. But
They hit the doggy jackpot when
if
they
they
leave
all
Jimmy's
got
house.
along and I could have had
Amazing.
as many as I wanted, there's no telling. But you don't have to be. You can have, I mean, who doesn't love puppies? So have a litter of puppies for 2 weeks, or they'll need a single puppy or 2 puppies. And I tell people all the time, just tell them what you want to help with. Would you rather do a single puppy? I think 2 puppies are easier than 1. That's
They
just me.
entertain themselves.
Yeah.
But it's everything. There's a huge need.
That's so
And you have to give them away, which is great. Because
You
a
do.
lot of people say they don't want to foster because they know they'll end up
It's the
keeping it.
biggest reason that people say they don't want to
Totally.
foster, and so this resolves that. It's like
Yeah.
you can't keep them. You get them for 2 weeks. You're basically babysitting
It's amazing.
for a
It's
couple
perfect.
weeks. It's so gratifying.
How can you not foster if it's only
Exactly.
for just
Anybody,
that
I
defined period
know,
of time
2
like
weeks
that?
to save a life, and it's really the difference. Like, I mean, I don't want to paint the sad picture, but these dogs are at the shelter. They're on death row. RPM is doing this amazing job of, communicating with their partner groups, and the partner group says, we want that dog, we can place that dog. But if that dog can't get a 2-week foster, we can't pull that dog.
Yeah, that's
That's
a reality picture, not a sad. It's sad, but
just
don't
the
worry about
truth.
painting that. That's the
think
truth.
that's
and
It's
people
the
need to know
truth.
that.
And I can't tell you how
People
many
need to know that.
times, I mean, this one, went down to bar. She was on death row. We got her.
Pregnant,
We got her.
too.
She just had them.
She just
She
had
just
'em.
had them. Yep. I
Well,
think. Yeah.
Scarlett has a sweet comment. She's saying there's a special energy flowing through Houston right now, and it has a lot to teach the world. Use it for all the good. Use it for all the good all over. I love that.
Amen.
Thank
It's
you.
so true.
And our friend Emma in Belgium, she loves animals, and she's actually a medium. She's amazing, speaks
wow.
with spirit, but she communicates with animals, and she works a lot with horses, and
Oh,
she
my
can,
goodness.
really communicate and telepathically understand what they're saying.
Wow.
So you guys know that every sentient being has this life force,
100%.
this intelligence, their
There's
way, and you guys have taken it all the way to where you're completely vegan. I mean, there's no.
It was one of our first steps, I think, in coming to terms with our life being in the wrong place. Was listening to the culturally we're told that animals are just animals, and they're here for a purpose for us. Or there's so many things that people will say about not just like your domesticated animals, but the uses that they go through, like as far as them becoming sort of products for us and our benefit and to make our lives easier and all these kinds of things. And I think I had been vegetarian for a very long time, Juliana as well, but taking the next step to realizing that sentience and beings and the energy in each of us is the same. They may not be able to communicate it through language like we do, but they communicate, like all animals communicate their own energy in a way that if you truly listen, we can all understand.
Yeah.
But it's covered up with these layers of culturally us being told that it's a certain way and that our relationship to these creatures is a certain way. When our relationship to these creatures, if we want to break it down, is we're at the top. We have to take care of things.
Mm-hmm.
Are we good or are we evil? So if we're good and you're at the top, you have to be a good leader.
Yeah.
And good leaders and good people at the top always look beneath and say, what do I have to do to make it better for everyone else?
Stewards.
it's a good
Stewardship.
word.
And it becomes like, and it became very obvious to us in a sense where it's the most, like you were saying, the greatest thing we've ever been able to do with our energy.
And
But it's
contribute.
also the most difficult because you know that one person isn't going to change it. And in our culture, everywhere you look, we are using animals as commodities and violence against them and causing so much pain and suffering and not just in an instant, but lifelong pain and suffering.
Well, I saw the show you did on about the circus and how there are movements where people say no more animals in circuses. It's
100%.
just
Well,
no
look what
more.
happened. Ringling Brothers is gone.
Yeah, and the whale, killer whales, shamus, orcas, they're
out
at
there.
SeaWorld. So it's changing.
Slowly,
there's
I
a
think
shift.
there's awareness
There's
definitely
awareness
starting
of
to happen.
this.
Even like we did a lot of work in Thailand with the Save Elephant organization, which they are trying to really expose the whole elephant riding and tourism in Thailand because people don't realize how much suffering an elephant goes through. They get captured from the wild. They endure 2 to 3 years of what they call breaking the spirit of an animal, where they get terribly tortured and abused. But people don't know, and they think, oh, I'm going to go to Thailand, I'm going to ride an elephant because everyone does it, and I want to do it and get a picture. So, they're really working hard with just, again, spreading that awareness and educating people on the reality of what actually the animal has to go through to help people realize, there's other ways for you to interact with an elephant. They have like a place called Elephant Nature Park where you can go and you can feed the elephant, you can wash them, you can touch them, but they're living a life of freedom.
They're not there to entertain you.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
not
You're
there
right.
to
They get
do
to be
tricks.
elephants.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which is
Africa was that way, and I fell in love. I've been back twice to this one place, and
Yeah.
and they are. Like I could walk her, and they asked that. They said, "Would you like to ride?" I was like, "No, that's so
Yeah.
disrespectful."
Yeah.
And I walked her, and I had my hand, I was holding her trunk, and she squeezed my hand. I mean, she was. They know.
They are
so
such compassionate beings,
beautiful.
and with elephants, they can actually interact through vibrations in the earth, so they can talk to each other by just feeling the energy. And that's the whole thing where Mark was saying, like, to us, why our lifestyle and our animal activism is such a big part of our life is because we feel like every single creature in the world wants to live, wants to be happy, wants to be healthy, and I find that the more we can start to bring awareness and help people understand that idea, the better lives we
on all
can live.
aspects.
On all
Helping
yeah.
make it conversational.
Yeah.
Whether it's talking about saving dogs because we're putting so many of them to death,
Yeah.
or whether it's talking about saving pigs because like 20 billion per day get slaughtered.
Yeah.
For us to and pigs when you break it down, are more emotionally in tune and more intelligent than dogs. It's just that culturally we've decided that they're food. And then we look down on other cultures that decide dogs are food, which, again, you're just
Right.
like, hang on a second here. Like, who made these decisions?
Right.
Well, our parents did. They told us
It's,
this.
it's a great
So
conversation to start having. It's uncomfortable for a lot of people
It's
because
very
it's so
uncomfortable.
ingrained.
Yeah, it's very...
And people enjoy the life that they've
Yeah.
started, but it's really. I went vegetarian a few years ago. I just don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
I still prepare for my family sometimes, but I just can't.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened, or there wasn't a day. It just kind of was like
It's just that awareness that
Didn't
happened.
want it
Yeah.
anymore. But I understand people who don't. But
Yeah.
now that I'm in it so much, that was like we were talking about the elephants, and I was watching this documentary where the elephants are walking the ley lines of the planet. They're like holding the grid down, and they walk the ley lines. So when we put up big fences and they can't walk anymore, they're like, but I'm walking the energy
Gotta go
lines.
there.
We don't even understand the importance. Like we can't even visualize that and
Yeah,
understand
that's so interesting.
their importance of us to our good, to the well-being of the planet.
Yeah.
So
They just don't know. And
the more I become aware, the more I'm just like, I get it.
Yeah.
well, and I think that is, for me right now, it's the whole seeing how I live and why I live like this. Like why is that okay? And I have a son that said, I want to hunt. So and so wants to take me and hunt. It's like, and I mean, you grew up in the South and everybody has their reasons and the
Yeah.
deer and overpopulation and so on and so forth. And I was like, honey, I take a spider outside. You can't hunt. I'm not going to be okay with this.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know how we got here, but it's about standing up and saying, why do we do what we do? And do we want to keep doing this?
Yeah,
You
do
know,
it
how can we
consciously.
do it
Make your
differently?
decisions
thoughtful.
consciously. Conscious, yeah.
And that's,
Consciously.
again, back to the beginning of the conversation. I think that's how this all started for us, Boho Beautiful, was just looking at everything we did and questioning it. And just trying to figure out how it makes us feel. Truly, like getting rid of all the excuses and the layers and everything like that, and truly getting to the root of how does that make me feel, and how do I justify it, and what if we tried something different?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then and so it became everything from like the way we start our days. How does that finish our days? So we had to change how we started our days, to the people we hang out with, to the food we put in our body, to our relationship with the earth, to our relationship with animals.
And to the purpose that you bring to this world. I find, these days there's so many people, there's a lot of talk of like depression and people being lost in their life. And I find one of the best ways to help people find that path for themselves is to truly look at what they do and what they love to do and how can they contribute to the world. What purpose can you play in your life that can better others, whether that is animals or humans or the planet, like whatever way you go, you choose to lead your life. If you can actually better somebody's life, then that's your purpose, and then that's going to lead you to more happiness.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's how you make fulfillment. It's how you make others feel better rather than just always
It's so
focusing
true.
on yourself.
It is such
Yeah.
a delight when you do that. When you're,
Yeah.
hi, sweetie.
She's got some-
She's
something to
just
say.
saying, amen.
Yeah.
She's saying, heck yeah. I'm gonna. We've got a couple comments here. Emma again is saying animals are far more advanced spiritually and much more connected with Source than humans are. So we can learn more from them than they can learn from us. Yes, Emma, you're so right.
It's so true.
They're so present moment. They're so, especially dogs, that unconditional love.
That's what I always said. Dogs, are my greatest teachers to live in the present moment.
Right.
They just do, and they don't hold a grudge.
Never.
She can't.
That's the
I
thing.
I know she did not come from a great circumstance, and she's not thinking about that now. She's thinking about that she's in your lap,
Yeah.
and she's just getting love,
And
and
I
she's
find-
giving it.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I find that also with animals, like they have such forgiveness to
Forgiveness
humans.
is so beautiful.
And it's so beautiful. And we saw it, with the elephants, because these elephants that we've been around have all come from years and years of inflicted torture by human beings. And then there they are, not trying to kill humans anymore. Like they've forgiven and they're giving love. And same with dogs. Like, you hear all these stories, dogs coming from horrible pasts. And they forgive the human species. They forgive us, and they give us love. And I think that is such an incredible quality that we all need to learn from them for that. It's not holding that grudge and just living forward, moving
And
forward.
it goes to it speaks a lot to mindfulness.
Yeah.
And part of like why I think we found to embrace it, because I think to find ourselves, we have to let go of who we thought we were and who we want to become, and live in the moment, much like animals do.
Yeah.
And so whether you find that through meditation or through whatever that might be, to help you be more present and realize that what matters is only now. because we have no idea where we're going to be tomorrow.
No.
We don't even know if we're going to be alive tomorrow.
Right.
So all that truly does matter is now and how you live this moment.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that can be learned from animals. We always call Prince their silent Buddha. Because it doesn't matter if like by accident we bump into him, he doesn't say, "Hey man," like he doesn't hold a grudge. Like he doesn't if we have a day where we have to like leave him behind for a day, or when we went to Southeast Asia and he stayed with her mom the whole time. Like all he cared about was seeing us.
You're
again.
home.
Yeah,
You're home.
There was a great comment in our video where we showed we filmed our reuniting
And it was
with
like
Prince.
5 months since we
It was
haven't
after
seen
5
him.
months,
Oh,
so like we
wow.
set up some cameras and had
Yeah.
Juliana's mom like bring the dog out
my
and
gosh.
and he went
Like
nuts.
he stopped for a second and like looked at us,
And he was
and
like,
then
"What?"
you could kind of see like in his brain he was like, "Oh my God,
They're here.
they're here!" And then he just ran and he went crazy.
And the best comment was somebody wrote on the YouTube video, like, he probably thought, were they in that bush the whole time?
For 4 months
Who
hiding.
cared?
Playing
That's
hide and
the
seek.
thing.
I love it.
And that's I don't know.
When
There's
I
so
asked you
much
guys
to it.
before the show, you guys, your dog's vegan too. I
Yeah.
didn't, you know.
Yeah, how?
Yeah, that's
Very easily. It's like they have the proper stomachs and enzymes and everything to live a completely even more healthy life, just like human beings, by less processed food and eating more plant-based food. We didn't do it by choice. His is from allergy, but then when we researched it,
Yeah.
now all you have to type is, "Can a dog be vegan?" and it all comes up on the first page. Like everyone's yes. Every vet, like major like pet food lines make vegan dog food and make
Really?
vegetarian dog food. Most of it started from allergies, but then people started to realize that they can be a lot healthier, have a lot less disease, have a lot less sickness, and live
Like
a
us.
longer,
Yeah.
healthier, more enthusiastic life.
Additives and preservatives and processed food.
Yeah.
There you go.
Which is
Well,
crazy
take
because we
that
put
out.
that in a blog and people are going crazy.
Oh, they're like
on
it's like
us.
cruelty, like we're
They're
being
like,
cruel
you
to
can't,
our
They're meant
dogs
to
can't,
be.
yeah, and
Yeah.
but it's just kind
But he looks beautiful. He's a big, healthy,
he's
shiny
healthy, yeah. And he
Rottweiler.
was gone through so many skin allergies. It was such a problem for us. We tried going like just fish, or like before we tried the whole vegan.
everything.
We tried everything and nothing would help, and we were so frustrated. And
He's
then
like, I'm
finally-
vegan.
Finally, we're like, okay, let's just start feeding what we eat. Not that we feed him people food. We actually buy specific like vegan dog food, so they still add the minerals and the vitamins, everything that the dog needs, to be healthy. And when we switched to that, the itching, the crying stopped.
additives and
Like
preservatives.
he's
cried?
oh,
Oh,
he
he's
used to
crying every
cry
night.
to like
Every night.
bite his paws to a point where
And
they were
howl.
bloody and howl because they were itchy, and we've tried
Everything.
until we finally switched to a vegan dog food, and it's great. Like it just
See,
works.
I love it. That's a
We're
paradigm that I never even questioned. I
Yeah.
figured they have canines, they're carnivores, check, done.
Right, and that's what
Not,
it's.
though.
That's what I thought too.
Well, that's why for a while we were vegan, but our dog ate meat because
Yeah.
we thought, well, it's a dog. You
Yeah.
should be
He needs
eating,
meat.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then obviously we didn't like that fact because we're like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't
It
like
was
even having
uncomfortable, yeah.
meat in our house. But then when the allergies started to get bad, we're like, okay,
That,
what do we do?
and
well,
now
there's
we're
no
playing with this.
coincidence there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just no. I
you
mean,
were
that's
meant to have him.
Yeah.
And then it's crazy though when you look it up online and actually do the research on it. You're like, holy, like
It's-
it's a normal thing and it's extremely healthy for them.
Cats can't.
Cats
like
can't.
Cats can't be vegan.
They don't have
Cats
the
need
proper
something
things
like in the
inside.
meat that to process.
Yeah.
I don't know if I
The
can speak to
enzymes,
it. The
yeah.
enzymes, but dogs can. So it's interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
And so and it's
Learn
funny. Yeah.
Heard it here
something
first.
new.
Yeah.
Heard it here
Learn
first.
something
This is
new.
it.
I want to say hi to Susan. She's going to be seeing you guys tomorrow in on Friday in Dallas.
Amazing.
Awesome.
This is how this started. Susan emailed us.
Yes.
We've
Oh,
known
yes,
Susan for years
Susan,
in radio, and she said, "Hey, Boho Beautiful's on a tour. You guys want to do Houston? We'll do Dallas." And we said, "Sure."
Thank
And then you guys
Susan.
Thank you, Susan.
added Austin.
Yeah,
we did.
like last minute, because when we announced the dates, we had so many people being like, "Why not Austin?
Right.
Why not Austin?"
Right.
So we're like, okay. And then some people reached out, were like, "Hey, if you want to put it on and help us, get to Austin."
Well, they're so
find a
great.
spot."
Austin helped us so much after Harvey, and Austin Pets Alive, who you guys are going to do the class to benefit. They're an amazing organization. Their people are, have helped us.
That's so
and their
awesome.
sister organization in Houston Pets Alive, is amazing. And I was glad that you
Yeah.
guys were
No, we're really happy.
adding
that we
on
have
Austin.
it
That's
every
tomorrow?
day. No, the next day.
Oh,
Thursday.
the next day.
Yeah.
You go somewhere else far away, and then you come back to Austin.
No, we're here. We
Oh,
just have a day
good.
tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh, good.
To work.
Yeah, to work and kind of catch up and see Houston a little bit,
Yeah.
and then we're off
Sweet.
to Austin. Yeah, so we're excited about
So, are
that.
you guys doing a tour of Rescued Pet Movements
Yeah,
today?
heading over there when we leave here, and then we'll see everybody this evening.
Yes.
Yeah, so just to recap, because we've just got a couple minutes here, Juliana and Mark's website is bohobeautiful.life, and rescuedpetsmovement.org. And then everything's happening tonight downtown. Starts at 5. Yoga starts at 6 at Herman Square at City Hall, 900 Smith Street. Leave us a message here if you need any information. We're going to be posting this on YouTube. So is there anything else I'm forgetting?
I don't think so.
I
Bring
don't
your
think
mat.
So.
Yeah, bring your
Bring
mat.
your yoga
Bring your
mat. Yes,
Bring
I
your
thought about
mat,
that.
bring your
This
water.
morning.
We do have a couple extras because some people don't have them. So
But
we'll
not
make it
enough for
but not enough
everybody.
for
Not enough for a lot of people.
And there's a quote you guys have on your site that I love, and it's like, we don't travel to escape life. We travel so life doesn't escape us. Upon our wonderful journeys, we write, we film, we laugh, we challenge ourselves, and we live. The world, the animals, and the people we meet inspire us every day to keep trying to make a positive change in this world, to leave our own footprint of kindness, compassion, and love.
Oh, mic drop.
Bravo!
That's it.
No,
Thank
it's a
you.
beautiful. What a beautiful
It is
example you
beautiful.
guys
Perfect way to
are
close.
doing it, dropping out of the paradigm that we've all kind of just found ourselves in, asking questions, making your decisions based on what your heart says. So what a beautiful journey. Thank you for coming in to share it with us.
you guys
Thank
for
you for
having
having
us.
us. It's been so wonderful.
Yeah, and
just
thanks. I
amazing.
know we've got Facebook and Instagram and YouTube all kind of
Everything's
going at the
going
same
at once.
time.
It's
So we're
amazing.
putting it out there. You guys subscribe, like, share, jump on the bandwagon if this feels good to you, or start your own movement. Whatever your heart is calling you to do, do
That's
it.
what it's all about.
Do it. We're
Amen.
here to support you.
Yes.
We're here to
yes.
support you and
Life
get
is
you home to your little babies.
Take you home to nurse your babies.
All right, guys, we're signing off. We're saying goodbye. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you,
See you guys.
everybody.
Bye.
Thanks. We'll see you tonight.